Morning, everybody, and welcome to this session for Astronomy 120. We are in the summer of 2024. This is the first session of the summer. So if you see me looking away from the camera, because the camera is actually this way and the screen is there, so hopefully you guys don't, you're not confused with it. Anyway, so the purpose actually of today's session is just to get us started. This is our first day of class so that we know exactly how things are organized and where things are at so that you guys can basically pace yourselves with the course. This is an extremely fast-paced course because it's only 5 weeks and we're going to cover the content of basically a whole semester. We're supposed to, this is supposed to be a Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's a 4-day week basically course. And it's loaded. The first week is kind of light a little bit, but then the second week, and especially the third and the second week, are going to be extremely heavy. The last week is basically wrapping up the things, putting them together, and basically finishing the entire course. So as I said in here, is that this is an extremely fast-paced course, and you really need to take that into account when you sign up for these classes. I know some of you probably have other classes, which is really going to be extremely hard to do it because of the fact that summer classes, unlike the regular semester classes, are very, very intense courses. So hopefully you guys realize that. And then in addition to the fact that if you have other things going on, you really have to make sure that you allocate the appropriate time for this class to make sure you do all the work that is associated with it. Okay. So before I move into the what I was planning to talk about, namely the organization of the course for this summer session, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that this is a 100% online course, meaning it relies on you following the pace on Canvas and making sure you're doing the work you're supposed to be doing. We will not have regular meetings every week, but most likely we will be at least probably having one meeting a week. You are not required to attend it live. However, you're supposed to watch the recording later on to see basically where we stand. We may not have a meeting in the last week, as I said before, it's just wrapping up and making sure that we have all of the things put together so that we're finalizing the course. Some of you, not all of you, are sitting in my Astronomy 125, which is the lab version of this class, and I will see you today around 9:30, and we'll talk about the other class. So when you're communicating with me, let's make sure that we have these two are separate. 120, which is a lecture, and 125, which is a lab. So leave the lab questions later on because that's an in-person class, okay? So let me share with you the screen so that you guys, unless you guys have any question, I'm going to share with you the screen. If I had the course. Okay, you're supposed to be looking at Astronomy 120, section 10, which is our class in here. And this is the Canvas version of the class. And as you can tell from the bottom, I am looking at it from your vantage point, basically from a student perspective, so that you guys see, so that I see what you guys see, okay? So the course, when you land on it, comes to the home page, okay? And this is basically typical stuff. As you can clearly see, this is probably a, needs to be changed, okay? This is from previous classes. But the point in here that you need to pay attention to is the models and also the links that you have in here. So one of the links is the syllabus for the course. I know I sent you the syllabus for those who were enrolled as of last week, so you should have received a copy of my syllabus. And if not, there is a hard copy in here that you can download and print and you can look at too. And there is also the syllabus in here. The syllabus goes through the typical stuff. One of the key things that you really need to pay attention to is the student learning objectives and the course objectives. Those are key components of what we need to be doing in class in here so that we have them targeted. The course utilizes a book that should be available at least through Brightwave for basically use online. And let me find it. You have access to a hard copy. This is how it should look like. Okay. This is how a hard copy looks like. Of course, I have the edition, the teacher's edition. What I like about this book is the fact that it's divided into different units. They call it units, which are very, very small units. They are not full chapters. It's like sections of a chapter. If you have looked at a book, books usually come up with different chapters, and each chapter is divided into several sections. They could be as much as 8 sections, 10 sections sometimes per chapter. Here, each unit, bless you, each unit amounts to about a section. Okay, so it's really lightweight in terms of reading. But you will see that each model is not necessarily one unit. So because we have to cover the same amount of materials, so sometimes you will have more than one unit. And sometimes you will have one unit. So depending on the how the week is structured. Okay, so that's one thing. Let me jump into the main thing in here. Obviously, I forgot to mention, and it's actually part of the introduction that you see in there, is the fact that if you have any questions, because it's an extremely fast-paced course, please reach out to me as soon as possible. Don't delay it even for 1 day. As a matter of fact, even for 1 hour, because 1 week amounts to 1 week of work in here amounts to about 4 to 5 weeks for a whole month, basically, of instruction. So the time in here is extremely, extremely fast paced. So please reach out to me. So the way you do it is the ideal place in here, you come to the inbox on the left-hand side in here in this pane, and you send me a message. That's one way. The other thing also in the syllabus, you should have my phone number, and you also should have my email. Then you can reach out to me. I don't have any other classes other than these 2 astronomy classes, which are connected. Okay. For me, they are connected. I know for you guys are not necessarily true. So that's important. Each week is divided into 2 models. You will see into more than one model, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's more than 2, sometimes just like 2, like in the first week in here. Now, these are copied from my class that I had in this semester, in the past semester. So you see me sometimes in the videos referring to week 1, week 2, and so on and so forth. Replace those with the word module 1, module 2, okay, and so on and so forth. So that's basically for the only thing. In terms of content, it's absolutely the same thing. In terms of content, it's absolutely the same book, the same content. But because it's fast-paced, I have in here 2 weeks worth of content. They are all put in one week because of the fact that you have to complete the whole course in about 5 week span of time. Now, of course, you're going to go through each module, hopefully in sequence. Don't try to jump. And as I was saying before, these are the units that you're supposed to be reading. You have in here unit 5, unit 6. So we don't start from unit 1. We're going to be jumping units. As a matter of fact, sometimes we jump ahead and we're back depending on where we are in the content. So these are the units where you're supposed to be reading from the book. And the next week is supposed, or the next model is supposed to be 3 units. So this week I have the total of about 5 units reading, which is less than a chapter, if you wish, from a regular textbook. So the first week is about full chapter, basically, but it's because it's kind of different topics. So it's kind of not from the same chapter from a regular book. I know if you're taking a class and using a different book, like Pearson, for example, and you're going to be assigned, let's say, 2 or 3 chapters, you're not going to read the entire 2-3 chapters. You're only asked to go through certain sections of those chapters, and that's in a similar fashion in here. So that's why we have to make some jumps and move around, because that's the key things in here. Other things, you're going to see them implied, or probably they are not that crucial for the how the course evolves over time. Okay. As I was saying, there are recordings every week toward the end of each basically module. So there is a recording from a previous class. There is another recording in here, and it says live because those sessions were live in the past, but right now they are recorded. This recording is going to be posted on the first in here. So when you come in here, these are previous recordings from February 21st, 2024. You will have one on top of it that's going to state today's date, May 28th, 2024, relevant to your class. So this discussion here is from a previous section. As you can clearly see, section 71, yours will have section 120, section 10. Okay, so that's one thing. In terms of the recordings, most of the times they are from previous, in terms of content, they are exactly the same thing. But in terms of relevance, it's going to be just the things that are relevant for you guys. Each week, we'll have 2 graded assignments in terms of discussions, 2 discussion assignments that are going to be graded. We'll have more than 2 assignments that are for discussions, but only 2 of them will be graded. How do I know they are graded or not? If I look in here, first of all, the first week I have to look at this is my discussion item, okay? Is Earth flat? That's actually for the entire course, okay? Then I have, and that's going to be setting up the tone for the whole discussion, so please don't skip it, okay? And I think I need to change the due date on this one, okay? So it's going to be due by the end of the course. Now I have Module 1 content and discussion for Module 1-1. That's this content, okay? This is graded. How do I know it's graded? Because it doesn't say that it's not graded. As a matter of fact, in the bottom, it says 5 points, worth 5 points, okay? Whenever I see and the points in here that means it's graded, and I better do that, okay? Now, next week, also, I have a discussion for Model 1-2 that is also showing it's worth 5 points, okay? If I move down, some of these modules are still great because they are still not available for me to look at as a student. So I'll have to wait until June 2nd when this opens at 10 o'clock in the morning. June 2nd, so that you know, is a Sunday, okay? Which is this coming Sunday. June 1st is Saturday. June 2nd is Sunday. I know we don't have classes Friday, Saturday, Sunday during summer sessions, but it's available for you a day ahead of time because the week starts actually on June 3rd. So June 2nd, you will have the model for you available to get started on. Again, I see the grade area in here. I see all the items that are in there. I see one of them, discussion model 2-1, ungraded. I don't know if you guys are seeing this shaded area correctly or not. Can at least one person tell me that they can see the shaded area? I know it's probably the screen resolution may be too small, but can you see it at least, one of
Yeah,
you?
you can see it.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anyway, the point being in here is that it says it's not graded, and I can look in the bottom. I don't see points awarded for it. This is optional in terms of discussion. So if you have questions relevant to that topic, you can put it in there, and hopefully one of you guys or me or someone else can come and basically follow up with that discussion. Again, so in the week after, or at least the model after, is also not graded. And now, still within next week, which is going to be on June 3rd. So some of the models open at June 2nd, and the next day, which is the start of the week, really is when the actual when more modules open up. And this one is June 3rd at 7:45 a.m. It's still this coming Monday at before 8 o'clock in the morning. This discussion item, it shows that it's worth 5 points and it doesn't have the mark that it is not graded. So I better make sure I do that, okay? As I was saying, each week you will have at least two discussion items that are not graded, and that are graded, I'm sorry. Like this one in here is also for next week and it's graded also. So 2 items that are worth 5 points in here. This one is not graded. It's still within the next week, which is, no, I'm sorry, we jumped. Now we are at week 3. When you see model 3, the 3 refers of our own sequence of the weeks. So model 2, all of them are next week. Model 2, Section 4, Model 2, Section 3, Model 2, Section 2, Model 2, Section 1. All of them will open up by either Sunday or Monday of this coming week. Then Module 3 is now actually we are on the week after, which is June 10th, which is Monday after. Not this coming Monday, the Monday after. Again, there is an assignment then that is graded, a discussion item that is graded, discussion item that is also graded, and with still from next week, another discussion item, but this one is not graded. And still next week also, there is another item actually that should not be graded. One of them has to go out, so I have to go and fix it, okay? All of this are coming next week, and this one has no discussion items, okay? Module 3, which is week 3, part 5. Okay, as I was saying in here, I'm still modifying this entire course because to account for the fact that this is a fast-paced 5-week course, okay? And then we move to week 4, which what the 4 stands for, and then part 1, so there are several parts to it. And the pattern repeats. So this is in terms of discussion. In terms of other assignments, you will have actually, in this case, projects. One of the and only one project. There is another project that is not suitable for the summer session, and you will see me referring to it when it says in here, help with moon projects. There is a video recording in there, and it goes in detail with at least 2 in-depth projects. One of them is not going to be applicable. So there are 2 projects. There is the lunar photography, which require only one night where you go out and you take pictures of the moon and you answer the questions relevant to it. And it doesn't matter what night is. Please try to take the moon not when it's a new moon, but try to have it around at least quarter moon or more. The full moon will be fine, okay? But the point in here is that you're going to go and answer the questions of the entire things that you see in the moon in terms of the features of its surface, and in terms of the lighting, and in terms of the dark areas, and so on and so forth. And also, you try to take a picture, the purpose of which is not to come up with the ideal picture. It may come up fuzzy, it may come up probably not overexposed or underexposed. But the point in here is that you see the difficulties that you're going to run into and include that as part of your project, okay? You're going to be graded, so a project is an essential part of the class. So you will have to go out on one night where you make sure that it's a clear night and you actually do your observation and answer all the questions. Ideally, you can work with someone else, okay? If you can reach somebody else from the class, that would be great. If not, a family member will be perfect, okay? Or a friend would be perfect, okay? So it doesn't have to be a person from the class. In addition to that, you will have homework assignments. So there are a bunch of them that start to appear from next week. And again, you will have plenty of support for them on how to handle them, okay? There is also midterms. There are 3 midterms in this class. Each midterm comes with its own review. You are extremely encouraged to do the review. Actually, it's a graded assignment, okay? In this case, it's worth 83 points. But here is the deal with the reviews. Either you get the entire 83 points or you get none. So you get 2 options as far as that grade. Either you get the minute you start the review and you start doing it and you submit it, you should get the entire credit for it, which is 83 points. Regardless of how many mistakes you make in it, the purpose is to prepare you and help you prepare for the actual review, for the actual midterm. The only way you get a mark of 0 in a review is if you don't do it at all, okay? And that's not good because those are 3 points. Obviously, they don't go to they go toward your participation. That means you're engaging and you're doing everything you need to do to make sure you pass the class with flying colors, okay? And then, of course, the midterm comes next, okay? Note that these things are dated and timed and everything else, so usually the review is going to close before the actual midterm is available. And the midterm, usually you will have a window of 2 to 3 days to complete it, okay? So those are assigned assignments, and they, of course, have a lot of weight. Now, in terms of, there is also another midterm that's on week 3 also. That's the review, I'm sorry for it. And the actual midterm is coming actually on week 3. And finally, you have the last midterm that is going to show up toward the end, which is the last week, that's midterm 3. And that is going to be due on the 27th when this class is over. The class is going to be over on June 27th. That's when the session is going to end for the first session for the summer classes. The review before it again is going to be available before that. And obviously I need to, as I was saying before, to make adjustment to the dates. So the types of assignments are extremely important midterms. Then you have the discussions. That's a lot of them. They are showing up everywhere just to make sure that you're keeping up with your work. Because if you miss them, then you start lagging. And it's not going to work if you just wait toward the last week and you decide, you know what was this course was talking about, and let me do it. That's not going to work. So you really have to start working from today toward the end of the course. Otherwise, it's going to pile up and it becomes undoable. It becomes unmanageable. So you really have to do that. And that's the purpose actually of the discussions, to keep you basically on pace. And then also you will have homework assignments. Some of them are actually hard to do. So if you have difficulty with them, please reach out. The purpose is actually to see this concept that you're talking about in action. It helps you understand a lot better the topic. So try to do them, work them together, and we're going to discuss those things. Come to the sessions, the ones that are recorded in that. If you have difficulty, please reach out. Try them, okay? You're going to get a lot of credit if you try them, okay? Don't choose not to submit them. They're going to hurt at the end, okay? Even if you get them incorrect, you're going to get a lot of credit, so that you know, for the homework assignments. Then also you have the reviews for the midterm that are also going toward your participation. So you make sure you do those two and to actually prepare for them. I usually drop the lowest grade for the midterms. I also drop the lowest grade for the discussions items. I also drop the lowest grade for the homework assignments. But I can't drop anything for the project because it's only one project. We are in the summer session. We can't have too many projects. Besides, the course is really extremely loaded, in addition to your reading of all of those sections and making sure you're pacing your course accordingly. Okay, any questions so far? No? Okay. I know for those who are sitting in my astronomy 125, which is the lab version of this class, you will have a chance to together to discuss some tools that we use in astronomy. And for those of you guys who are sitting at home, you are also encouraged to download this application in here, which is called Stellarium, okay? And try to follow with the course. There's another project that I still did not decide to cancel altogether. And that is the Stellarium activity, where you're going to actually download the software and answer questions after you basically locate the several objects in the sky, and basically making sure you manipulate the software to be able to use it, because it's part of it is like a I don't know. Are you guys seeing what I'm looking at or not? Are you looking at Stellarium?
Yeah, you can see it.
Very good, thank you. So basically, this is a free software on your computer that you can download. So if you have a Windows computer, there are 3 versions apparently of it, which is the 32-bit for Windows 7, with 64-bit with Windows 7, and the new Windows is 64-bit. For a Mac, there is also a free version, and also for a Linux, if you have a Linux machine. Obviously, if you don't have that, you can use the web version. I even have it on my phone. The only trouble with the phone version is that it's not a free software. It costs like $5 or something like that. But honestly, it's not good. So I don't know if it was really worth for me to spend the money on it, because the computer version, which is the free version, is a million times better than the computer version. Not only that, but there is actually a web version, and the web version is exactly the phone version, okay? So if you happen to go to the web version, that's basically how that software would work. Now, this software, as I was saying, it's similar to the planetarium. I know we just hired a new person for our own planetarium. And if you have a chance when they have events, please come in and participate in them. And what the planetarium is a big dome that simulates the sky, basically, in the local area where we are, okay? And you will see the sky as if you are outside looking at the sky. That is on a clear night and so on and so forth. So it's a really good tool to have. This software does the same thing. And it's really a real-time tracker in a sense that it's not something like what happened in the software in the planetarium, which is a kind of a simulation, and that simulation you can put specific dates on it and see how the sky looked like in the past or how it's going to look like in the future. This one actually can take you wherever you want to. You don't have to stick to San Bernardino if you want to. So right now it's showing San Bernardino in the bottom, but if I click on it, I can change my location to, I don't know, Grand Canyon. I don't know if the Grand Canyon is listed in there or not. Okay. And when I did, it says Grand Canyon or New Zealand. I don't want to go to New Zealand. I want to go to this one, to the United States. Okay. So it found it and use this location. Okay. So now I'm in the Grand Canyon. Okay. And now I'm looking at the sky and how it looks like where I'm planning to travel. And as a matter of fact, it's not today that I want to do it. I want to change the date to, can I change the date manually or not? Yeah, I can change it to June, let's say July, for example. I don't know, July 4th, for example. Okay, okay, I obviously. And I want to change it to, let's say, for example, 10 p.m. It uses military time, and I can fix the sky, okay? So that the clock does not change on me. Now I'm looking at the sky from the north side. Obviously, this landscape is just an artificial landscape, so don't be this is not how the Grand Canyon look like. This is just a kind of a how is it, generic landscape. Okay. Anyway, the point being in here, I'm looking in the north of how the sky look like from my vantage point, and this is a bright star. What in the world is this star? Well, this is Polaris. This is the North Pole. Okay, that's actually a good way for me to find where things are at. Okay, there is Vega, another big star that is actually not too far from here. So there are all kinds of objects in the sky that I can look at, and this fuzzy thing in here, this is actually the Milky Way. This is our own galaxy, okay? I can search for objects in here. This fuzzy thing, I'm not talking about Deneb, okay, which is another star in here. Obviously, I can look at for those of you sitting in my Astronomy 125, we're going to do a lot of activities. One of them is going to focus on Arcturus, okay? So that's one of the labs that we're going to use that because it has an advantage. It sits on what is known as the ecliptic. And that's a concept that you're going to be learning in this class too. Anyway, so you need to please download this software. It's a free software, okay? And we may have a project related to it, okay? We may have a project related to it. And let me remove the landscape completely and remove the daytime, the effects of the atmosphere completely. And let's remove the deep sky object. And I'm looking for an object in here. And I'm still in Grand Canyon. I know that I'm not here. I'm going to look at Jupiter in here and see if I can zoom in on it. And where is the zoom in? Is it the okay, that's one of the reasons I don't like this software in here. I don't like the web version because if I open the desktop version, you will see the difference, okay? And let me stop sharing. Come on, I have so many things open, okay? But I did open it. Okay, finally it's opening. Sorry. Still loading. It's a big application. That's why it's not you will need a computer for it, okay? And usually you really need some sort of a decent graphics. Still loading. Anyway, the point I was trying to show you is that you're going to have a lot of functionality and things related to the course, okay? And why is it even this place? Okay. Let me show you what I'm getting in here, which is share. Okay, this is how the software look like. And let me again do the same thing, something in here. Let me fix this pane, because I'm going to need them a lot. And let me, are you guys looking at the same software as I'm looking at? Yes? Okay, somebody in the chat. Okay, very good. Thank you, Ivan. Anyway, so let me do the same thing in here. I'm going to look for the same object in here because part of the things that we're learning is object in the solar system. And there is nothing better than Jupiter, actually, that is in the and I'm still in San Bernardino and on planet Earth. That's actually another thing. And some of you who are sitting in my astronomy 125, they will see. What is the Okay, I'm having difficulty with this computer in here, so sorry about that, okay? No. Never mind, sorry about this, okay? I'll try to fix it, okay? And hopefully... I'm trying to zoom in onto Jupiter, that's the point I'm trying to do in here. And for some reason, my zoom is not working, my mouse is not responding to the zoom. As a matter of fact, I see my screen is freezing too. So it seems like my computer is really not keeping up with everything in here. And that's part of the problem. I'm trying to, and now it's zooming. The response is extremely slow. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let me close this. It takes a long time to respond. It's not worth it. Because this one also. Anyway, so hopefully that was an introduction for you guys on this class, okay? And you saw how it works. The biggest thing I have to tell you about, and that's hopefully you guys are going to pay attention to, is the pace of this course. It's an extremely fast-paced course, okay? That means from day one, from week one, I make sure that all of my assignments are done. I spend at least 2 to 3 hours a week. No, I'm sorry, every other day. That means between today and tomorrow, I spend between 2 to 3 hours on this class because of those units, okay? And the next 2 days, I do the same thing. In other words, every week between 4 to 6 hours on this class, okay? That's basically the amount of time that you're going to dedicate to this class in order to pass it correctly. 4 to 6 hours, depending on the assignments. It may be more for some of you. It may go all the way to 10 hours if you really did not have, first of all, the resources for it, or you couldn't locate stuff, or you can't have, or you have difficulty, for example, I don't know, for example, you are at work, you start reading the unit, then just before finishing the first page, each unit is about 4 to 5 pages sometimes. So I finished the first page and then I was called to work. I have to go and do other things, come back, do another page. So in this case in here, it's not easy to track the time. So you may need to spend more time. Try to do it every week, Monday through Thursday, okay? Try to dedicate the time during that time, okay? Don't pile it up toward the weekend. I know we have the tendency sometimes to do that. Please try to resist that as much as possible, because of the fact that things that are needed by Monday or Tuesday are required for things to happen on Wednesday and Thursday. So if I miss and pile up things, by the time I get into the weekend, I have stuff that is due on Wednesday that I somehow have not completed. So please work every week from Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday, if you can, especially the first few days, and you can divide your week actually from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for the first half of the week, then Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday if you want to go to for the next week, for the next part of the week, which is the week you divided into two parts. You're looking, as I was saying, between 4 to 6 hours every week of content, including reading, responding to discussions, answering the discussion items, and doing the homework assignments, and watching some of those recordings. Each recording is probably worth about 1 hour. So you have two of them for every other day. So you're looking at about 2 hours. I'm sorry, 1 hour and 1 hour, that's 2 hours per week of just watching the recordings if you need to, okay? Recordings are not really supposed to be in lieu of reading. So the key thing in here is the reading. You have to read the units. That's more important than actually having to watch the recording. The recording, you're supposed to come back to them and have some sort of an insight or some sort of a help trying to guide you into your reading. It's still your reading that is the key in here. If you reach out to me and you tell me you have difficulty with Unit 8, for example, and you don't understand how the tilt of the Earth's axis, for example, and the fact that the moon goes around the Earth, and then how come the moon and the Earth, we don't have a lunar eclipse every month, because of the fact that the moon goes around the Earth, and at some points it's going to be between the Earth and the sun, and sometimes the Earth is going to be between the moon and the sun. So how come we don't have solar eclipses and lunar eclipses twice? One of each every month. And of course, it has to do with the tilt of the axis of the Earth and how the path of the moon goes around the Earth, and when they align, we do, and when they don't. But it goes in detail in the book, and you're supposed to read it in Unit 8, and sometimes in Unit 7 builds on it, which is not assigned. You may even have a peek at Unit 7, and sometimes you have to go to Unit 8 to master those things. But the thing in here, it's still not clear, so you can reach out and we can have an in-depth discussion, and we can actually use paper and we'll see exactly how that's going to line up, okay? I hope that this introduction to this class session is good, is helpful. Any questions before we end this session? Yeah, it works beautiful for Mac, and especially if you're going to be an amateur astronomer, that software is actually you can't live without it, because it will going to tell you the sky how it looks like. So if you're planning a trip or you're going somewhere, even if you don't have a telescope or you have basically basic binoculars, it's actually a good tool to have. If you're going to South America and you would want to look at the Andromeda Galaxy, that's really actually something that going to help you what it is, so that you can see it at the date, the time, and everything. Okay. Anybody else? If not, I thank you very much. Please watch for the first of all, the recording is going to be posted to my YouTube channel, and then after that, I will send you the link. And also watch any messages that come from me. They will going to come through Canvas. And please respond in time and make sure you're following up and asking questions. Also, that's another thing, another kind of a problem that people sometimes fall into. And they think that, okay, if I ask question, people think that I don't, they may think negatively about me. Don't think that way. Please do ask questions all the time. You may be surprised to know that at the end, a lot of your classmates will be extremely grateful for you, even though they may not say it, because you asked the question that probably they had it in their minds. And sometimes they didn't even know they had it in their minds until you ask the question is, oh yeah, that's something I was wondering about too, or that's something that I was struggling with, or that's something that I was confused about, or that's something that I didn't see the connection with it until you asked it. So please do ask questions, and that only makes the topic richer. And Ty, the link to it is actually on the syllabus itself or on Canvas. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, it's a .org, not .com. Okay, or something at .net, or it's a .org. Okay, let me write it down in here. Okay. Okay. Everybody can get the link too. Okay, so no problem. Thank you, man. Okay, so I'll see you guys sometime. By the way, I didn't mention this, but my office is in the physical science building. I know we are an online class, and I know we're going to be doing office online if you want to. But also my office is in here on campus, and I'm every day in here for two reasons. First of all, for my Astronomy 125, which is the lab version of this class. And I'm also here because of a grant from NASA that I'm involved with my engineering students with. And if I'm not in my office, I probably am in the STEM center, and I'm meeting with those students doing stuff in here. So please, if you have a question and if you're not too far from campus, please stop by and ask that question. So it's really going to make the topic better. So don't think that you're tied into the online environment. Please do come in. The only thing I ask from you guys is whether it's an online or whether it's an in-person, please send me a message ahead of time. And if you can, also tell me the topic that you're asking. What is that you need help with, so that at least I can prepare and come out ready for you. Okay? So don't hesitate to ask. And if you are on campus or not too far from campus, my office in physical science building, room 195. The only thing is, it's kind of weird to get into it. So you need access from outside and then to the inside. So it's kind of a two-door thing. That's why actually it's a good idea to send me a message ahead of time. If not, I probably also am hanging around in the STEM center. So please do come in person or send me messages so that we can meet online. Thank you.
Thank you.